Welcome to this hands-on lab on configuring remote desktop access on Red Hat Enterprise Linux 10. In this session, you will learn how to install, configure, and secure graphical remote access step by step so you can reach your RHEL 10 system desktop from another computer. We will work through real commands, verify each stage, and troubleshoot common problems. By the end, you will have a working multi-user remote desktop setup and a clear mental model of how the pieces fit together. Before we begin, an important note about RHEL 10. In earlier releases, such as RHEL 8 and 9, administrators used a tool called Tiger VNC to provide VNC access on the default VNC port 5900. RHEL 10 has removed the Tiger VNC packages and the traditional X server as part of the transition to the Wayland display server. The supported replacement is GNOME Remote Desktop, which uses the RDP protocol on port 3389. This is what we will configure in this lab. Knowing this difference is important for any production RHEL 10 deployment. We start by checking our environment. We assume you have a RHEL 10 system with administrator access, either a physical machine, a virtual machine, or a cloud instance. First, confirm the operating system with cat/etc/os-release. Then verify you can run commands as root with sudo. We also need a graphical desktop. If your server is minimal, install the server with GUI group using the dnf group install command. After installation, set the system to boot into the graphical target and reboot. Now we install the remote desktop components. Use the DNF package manager to install GNOME-remote-desktop, which provides the RDP server, and GDM, the GNOME display manager that presents the login screen. We also install FreeRDP, a command line RDP client, so we can test the connection. Run the command sudo dnf install GNOME-remote-desktop GDM FreeRDP. Once finished, verify the package is installed with the rpm query command. Red Hat recommends rebooting after installation so the remote desktop services start cleanly. RDP sessions are encrypted with TLS, so we need a certificate and a private key. We generate a self-signed certificate for the GNOME Remote Desktop Service account. First, create the configuration directory for that account. Then use the WinPR MakeCert utility to generate a TLS key and certificate. The command writes the tls.key and tls.crt files. For a real deployment, you would use a certificate signed by your own certificate authority, but a self-signed certificate is fine for this lab. Next, we register the TLS material and set an RDP access credential. The credential is the password remote users must provide before they reach the login screen. Use the grdctl command with the system flag to point the service at the key and certificate we generated. Then set the credential by running grdctl system rdp set-credentials without arguments, so it prompts for the password. Remember this password because you will need it when connecting from the client. Now we enable and start the remote desktop service so it runs at boot. Enable the GNOME Remote Desktop Service with systemctl enable and start it with systemctl start. Verify it is running with systemctl status. Next, configure the firewall. RDP uses TCP port 3389. Open the RDP service in firewalled permanently, then reload the firewall. Always restrict this port to trusted networks in a production environment. Now for the payoff. From your client machine, open any RDP client. On Linux, you can use FreeRDP or Remina. On Windows, use the built-in Remote Desktop Connection app. Connect to the IP address of your RHEL 10 system on port 3389. First, enter the RDP access credential we configured. Then sign in with your normal Linux user account and password. You should now see the GNOME desktop and be able to work with it remotely. If things do not work, follow a logical order. Check that the service is active with systemctl status. Confirm the firewall rule is in place with firewall-cmd list all. Verify the port is listening with the ss command. Review the logs with journalctl for the GNOME Remote Desktop Service. Common issues include a missing reboot, an incorrect credential, a blocked port, or the graphical target not being set. Most problems come down to these few steps, so check them first. Let's recap. In this lab, you installed the graphical environment, installed GNOME Remote Desktop, generated TLS certificates, set an RDP credential, enabled the service, opened the firewall, and connected from a client. You also learned why RHEL 10 moved away from Tiger VNC to GNOME Remote Desktop using RDP. For environments that specifically require the older VNC protocol, tools like X11 VNC can be used, but the supported path on RHEL 10 is this RDP-based approach. Well done! You have completed the lab.